The Pretender Bride, Central City Brides, Volume 4. Written by Cynthia Woolf. Narrated by Beth Kessler. Chapter 1. April 10th, 1871. Rockford Residence, Brooklyn, New York. Detective Nelson, what are you doing in here? Katie Kennedy asked the man she found in her stepfather's bedroom. He appeared to be looking through the books on Noah's nightstand.
Oh, I was looking for the bathroom.
She lifted an eyebrow. I'm sure you won't find it in Noah's books. He set the book in his hand back on top of Noah's Bible.
I wanted something to read, you know.
You'll find reading material already in the bathroom across the hall. She pointed out the door.
Oh, well, I don't seem to need to use it after all.
Katie thought that was the oddest conversation she'd ever had. What was David Nelson looking for? Goodbye. Thank you for coming. I'm sure Noah would have been glad you were here. Katie Kennedy closed the door on the last caller to her stepfather's wake, except for her friend Geneva Watson, who offered to stay and was in the kitchen cleaning up. 10 o'clock. She slumped back against the door. She'd put her little brother and sister to bed several hours ago. Ethan was 5 and Ruthie just 3. They didn't completely understand what was happening, and this was much too late for them. Heavens, she thought. The hour was too late for her as well. 10 o'clock before she could chase the last well-wisher out the door. Noah Rockford had been well liked in the neighborhood and apparently among his fellow policemen, as an endless stream of blue uniforms moved before her eyes in and out of the house today. She'd hated having to host a wake for him. Katie had loved Noah. He'd raised her since she was 10 years old and married her mother. Katie sighed. Yes, he'd been liked by everyone, except the person who shot him. She looked around at the mess and shook her head. Cups, plates, and cutlery were on every flat surface, here in the living room, waiting for her to gather and clean them. She gathered dishes from the coffee table, the end tables, and the bookshelves. She should be thankful she and the children still had a house to hold the wake in. Noah hadn't owned the home but rented it from Mr. Doolittle next door. After Noah's murder, the elderly man said Katie and the children could stay for a month before he'd have to get another renter. Katie thought that was because he felt sorry for them, and her little brother and sister reminded him of his grandchildren. For whatever reason, she was grateful. That was a week ago, and she still didn't know what she would do. She'd get a furnished room if she had to. All of the furniture here belonged to the house. The only things she had to move were their clothes, books, pictures, a few keepsakes such as the jewelry Noah gave her and Ruthie. It was pretty, and he'd taken such joy in giving it to them. Good memories were attached to the jewelry. The one thing Noah had, which she would have kept regardless of needing it to move their things, was his trunk. The piece of luggage was beautiful, with brass scrollwork on the steel hinges, corners, and lock. The inside was lined in heavy red silk, unlike most trunks which were unlined, and it was oversized. Between the trunk and her 2 valises, they would hold everything she wanted to take. She wasn't taking any of the knickknacks her mother had all over the walls. To Katie, the plates with kittens, small shelves with ceramic animals, and shadow boxes full of nature scenes were just clutter she had to dust. Mr. Doolittle could sell them or just leave them up. Her mother wouldn't be happy with that decision, but now was not the time to be nostalgic. Memories flooded her anyway. Mama's been gone for 3 years now, ever since my sweet Ruthie was born. I regret Mama's death, but I certainly don't blame Ruthie for it. For a long time I blamed Noah, thinking that he'd wanted more children and forced Mama to try to have more, but I was wrong. Mama had wanted more children, wanted to give Noah more children, even though he tried his best not to let her. I don't know exactly what that means, and Noah didn't explain other than to say he'd tried. Katie sighed, walked into the kitchen and sat at the table, still laden with food from the wake. She sipped a cup of tea with her friend, Geneva Watson. Geneva was thin, but had a pretty face and beautiful golden brown.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?